just a quick message about setting boundaries. And how do we feel about setting boundaries? Is it something that you feel comfortable doing, that you like doing? And for a number of reasons, we can have difficulty setting boundaries. I'm not going to go into that so much in this video. I do have more resources on that. But let's talk about some of the difficult difficult aspects of setting boundaries. When you set a boundary, you are risking disappointing someone, not meeting their expectations, maybe hurting them. And sometimes the consequences are tough. And I can remember very well a time in the past, years ago, when I was a personal trainer and I was teaching at multiple gyms. And I had a lot of flexibility and time in my schedule. So with a long time client of mine, I would be very flexible in where we would train. And I noticed after a while that I was starting to feel resentful and angry before our sessions, and I wasn't looking forward to them because I was doing all this extra work to have that flexibility for the client. That was ideal for that person, but was becoming less and less workable for me. And so once I finally got clear that this was the reason why I was feeling resentful before the sessions and that this arrangement was no longer working out, I had a clear choice to make. I could either keep doing it or I could risk disappointing my client and say, you know what, I'll honor our agreement through a certain time that we had agreed upon, but after that, I'm only going to be doing my training in this one location. And that is what I said. And what happened is I lost my longtime client of over a decade. And with that, a big part of income. And so the exchange for setting the boundary, I disappointed someone, and yet I honored myself and I respected myself, and I got clear on what I wanted. I got clear on what was good for me, so to invite more of that into my life, to create the space for that, because I was clear on what I would accept and what I wouldn't. And did suddenly a big rush of new clients come in? No. And so sometimes when we set a boundary, there's difficult consequences that we accept and we have to take on at the same time that we are relieving ourselves of some burden, some distress, or some feeling, or giving our power away, giving some of the control over ourselves to somebody else when we finally say, no, I can no longer continue doing that. I can no longer continue this relationship or friendship or whatever it is. And maybe the other person, they're disappointed, but that's it. Or maybe they escalate and they get very dramatic. Maybe they try to turn it around and make you feel like you have no reason for setting that boundary and you're just crazy, and and they try to break you down. But if that happens, understand that is all about them. That is a reflection of their feelings and what's going on with them, and that you cannot control that. And that you can feel whatever you feel in response to their reaction. That's fine. Just let those feelings be felt. You don't have to suppress them, or you don't have to not feel them. But the point here is to allow yourself to set the boundary and to understand that, well, when I set a boundary, it's not always nice. It's not always easy. But what I'm doing is getting really, really clear on who I am, what I will accept and not accept, how I want to be treated and how I don't want to be treated. Any kind of relationship, whether it's business relationships or romantic relationships or with a friend. You get to say, hey, this is okay, this is not okay. And then the consequences, both positive and negative, that follow. But I have found, again, it was always better when I took that step to say, no, this needs to change, or I cannot continue this way. And to bravely face that And I always walked away, even though they're like in the example I gave you, like, oh, I lost part of my income. It's like, well, what I also lost was the regular appearance of resentment and anger and feeling like I wasn't standing up for myself. That all went too. So there can be a mixture of feelings and responses that we have when we set a boundary. To just let those be there. But I always think that the most important thing that you can do, the most loving thing you can do for yourself, is to honor and respect yourself. And you're not responsible for someone else's reaction. And that's it. You are just responsible for how you conduct yourself and for how you teach people how to treat you by those boundaries that you set, by what you accept and what you don't accept. So that's my message for today. I hope that helps. Thank you for watching, for being here, and I'll see you in the next video.